iPad now in 25 more countries. iOS 1's YouTube is no more. Netflix for Retina iPads. Angry Birds Space released. And Adobe Unveils Creative Suite 6 for Windows and Mac. It's Friday, March 23rd, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chaten, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of iWake. It's Friday, so happy Friday. Leading off today's episode is a simple reminder that the new iPad is now available in 25 more countries. It's now available in Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Czech Republic, Denmark, Finland, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, Mackay, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, and Sweden. That's in addition to the already robust list of launch countries that happened last week. The iPad rollout is an impressive one, considering how many countries and how far-reaching Apple's making this launch be. So, with that said, I've discovered an interesting thing with YouTube. It's totally broken on the original iPhone running iOS 1. So I'm in the process of releasing a bunch of videos comparing iOS 1 to iOS 5. And right now I'm doing apps. So over on youtube.com/TCHATEN, I'm doing all these videos. And I discovered that YouTube is not working anymore on the original iPhone running iOS 1. Safari does not work with YouTube anymore, nor does the app. It gives you tons of errors that make the app unusable. It says it cannot connect to YouTube, and the websites for YouTube have your browser is not supported. So it seems that if you're still running an original iPhone in the original OS, which I think a fair amount of people are, you'll be running into some issues. It's nothing too shocking here, but it's just something rather interesting that has changed. Another thing to note is Google Maps. The API for not Street View, but for the traffic is broken now on the original iPhone for iOS 1. So just some things I've found as I'm playing around with the first iPhone running the very, very first OS. So next up today and last of the day is a bunch of app-related news. To begin is the co-founder of Instagram sharing how the app can monetize. Currently, it's a free app in every single way. The first way he mentioned would be to include images in your Instagram feed that are of different brands. The images would feel like any other Instagram photo and be more like entertainment rather than your typical ad, which is a cool idea, and I actually like this idea. It's a brilliant idea that I could see taking off, and it would make ads fairly non-intrusive. Secondly, he mentions the idea of events being covered by Instagram. And lastly, he mentions Instagram campaigns where companies promote people to take pictures of a certain theme and those images being pulled into the company's website through an API that I'd imagine is a paid API. This would be similar how people use Twitter to share information. This would be a visual sharing. So that's what they're planning to do, and that's kind of the future of Instagram and them making money, and they need to do that to stay afloat. So I'm hopeful they can make that into a good business model. And other app news is yet another music streaming service for iOS. This time it's from Sony. According to Mac Rumors, Music Unlimited is Sony's on-demand, all-you-can-eat, all-you-can-listen to music service that costs $10 a month. Sony claims to have a global catalog of over 10 million songs that you can listen to on your computer, Android phone, Sony-enabled device, and soon, iOS device. They offer unlimited skips and no ads for this paid service. Another yet-to-be-released app news is the Daily for iPhone. Someone from the company hinted that the Daily app for iPhone will resemble their Angry Birds Guide app for iPhone and is on its way. The Angry Bird Guide app is available for free and available today in the App Store. Thanks to TUAW for sharing this news. Speaking of Angry Birds, is a new Angry Birds app for iOS. The new app is dubbed Angry Birds Space and is available both for the iPhone and the iPad. The iPad version is $2.99, and the iPhone version is just 99 cents. The new game includes 60 new levels, brand new birds, brand new superpowers, gravity-free levels, Earth slingshot tricks, and much, much more. The new app looks great and looks to be quite good. I personally won't buy this one as I'm simply tired of the whole Angry Birds thing. There's no ad support version yet, but even if that was released, I'm not sure if I'd want to spend my time getting addicted to yet another Angry Birds game. Next up is Netflix for the Retina iPad. The Netflix app has been updated to include the following. First off, improved artwork for the new iPad Retina display, fixed voiceover support, improved playback on external displays, numerous fixes and stability improvements. The release notes also indicate that HD streaming is coming soon, as it's already made its way out to the 1080p Apple TV. Hopefully Hulu Plus follows Netflix's example here, as that's the one I'm using more these days. So last up today is a big release, an announcement from Adobe. The company has unveiled Creative Suite 6 for Mac and Windows. The Photoshop app is available today as a free public beta. This marks the very first time the company has released Photoshop as a public beta. The new update includes a bunch of nice improvements and changes. I'm not a Photoshop guy, so I'm going to do my best to try and understand what is important here. The new app integrates with Adobe's Creative Cloud and is now 64-bit only. Creative Cloud is kind of like PhotoStream on steroids. You can actually store a photo library in this Creative Cloud, and it looks like they'll be doing a lot more with this Creative Cloud with this update here. Background save and audio recovery is now included, which I think is a line feature they have finally enabled with this update. One of the most visual changes here to be found is the new dark interface. The new interface is a nice change that should make the app easier to use and more pleasant to use as well. For those that don't like this change, there are other themes and things like that to make it more light colored rather than the dark colored interface. The dark colored interface is really big right now with Final Cut Pro 10 using it, as well as Aperture and many other things. Adobe also redesigned and streamlined the program's menu icons. Though they're still familiar and easily recognizable, panels are now labeled in upper and lowercase type rather than all caps, enhancing its legibility. A new Properties panel now combines adjustment layer and mask settings into a single panel, so that should make it easier to get to your settings. The app also includes a new content-aware move tool that lets you relocate objects within an image. So Photoshop can actually is aware of what's going on in your photo, what different elements are. If a person's there, if a tree's there, it knows about it, and you're able to work with that even better now. Another addition in this new app is the adaptive wide-angle adjustment filter that lets you quickly straighten objects that appear curved in photos shot with wide-angle lenses or even the fisheye lens. And this sounds really nifty because I'm really curious how a fisheye lens could be flattened out and so you could actually see the 180 angle as a straight shot. That sounds really nifty and would enhance the use of a fisheye for many people, including myself. So that tool I would actually love to play around with, and hopefully Apple could actually work with that tool and do their own version of it in the future. And next up, this is kind of a big one, is video. They finally added this to Photoshop in this update. While Photoshop remains focused on still photography, the app now lets you do some basic video work, and this video tool is designed for photographers, not full-out filmmakers. So there is a difference there, and they're not going full-out video, but they just added it for the odd and end times a photographer might need this functionality. There's a lot more to this update, and since, as I said, I'm not a Photoshop user, I just wanted to kind of do a wrap-up of what I thought were important improvements to be made here. Macworld did a great roundup of what is new in this update, so if you have an interest, head on over to macworld.com for the full rundown. It should be fairly easy to find on their site. The full Creative Suite update is available later this year, and as I said, the beta for Photoshop is out now. Well, that's what's going on in the Apple world today. If you like the show, head on over to iTunes to leave a review, and don't forget to subscribe to iWake Again. iWake Again is my Saturday show, so that's tomorrow. Every Saturday, I've got a new episode with interviews and discussions all about what's going on in the Apple world. So head on over to iWakePodcast.com/again to sign up. It's $10 a month, and for that, you support this daily podcast, which needs your funding. I don't have a day job. This is my day job, to serve you news, so please support me financially through iWake Again over at iWakePodcast.com/again. Donations are also appreciated. You can do that at iWakePodcast.com/donate. Thanks for your support for those that have. And with that, I will talk to Again subscribers tomorrow. And everyone else, I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Aloha.